Ideas flow, but never.
Today's topics: hold space, don't fix. Stay authentic. Release what isn't yours. Trust body cues and intuition. And break old cycles.
Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind.
Hello and welcome to episode 25. Did I just say that right? Yeah, 25. My guest today, it's Ramblings of a Busy Mind, first of all, and I'm already scrambled. Why am I scrambled? My guest today is Tara Joy, energy healer. We've known each other for a few years, doing markets together, not together, but attending the same markets. And
Yes.
you can tell I'm rambling, so I take it from there.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Natasha, for having me. Yes, I am I guess the best way to describe it is an energy intuitive. So I read people's energy, and at shows and mystic events, I'm usually offering readings because it's a fun way to allow people to get to know what it's like to work with me. And then if you wanted to do a deeper dive, then I would go into doing a one-on-one energy healing session where I often sort of guide people into a meditation that's custom and channeled for them. And often light language or something will come through. And of course, as you know, as a fellow healer, it depends who you're working with. And it can be completely different depending on what they need in that moment. And that's one of the things that I still find surprising as I work with individuals is how different each one is, but yet at the end, how it was exactly what they needed, right, in that moment.
Well, there's the point, the intuitive in there, listening
Yes.
to the cues that and being able to interpret the cues that you get, right?
Yes. Interpret and trust. Most important, trust.
My brain is trying to switch between German and English with the words today, so it might be interesting the way that comes out of
Oh, interesting.
You wear, like I did, or do you wear multiple hats in business?
Yes. Yeah. I'm also a graphic designer. So I help create people's logos, their brands, their websites. And I also do like email newsletter templates, social media templates. And that's very much another space for me where I get to be creative and solve problems in a different way, where the healer is like helping, as you said, or as you say often, like I also look at myself as a guide. I'm not actually healing anything, right? I'm just holding space for the individual to have the awareness based on those intuitive hits that come through. And I actually do that in my design as well. So I'll be in a kickoff meeting with like corporate clients and start getting clairvoyant images of, you know, what their identity might be, what type of fonts they might need to use, what colors are best suited for the business. And so I kind of have a secret superpower in my design work.
You know, I'm chuckling because I had just had a conversation with somebody who deals with marketing for others, helps others streamline their marketing. And I've been for the last few weeks, months, telling people, because I want to create a energy summit where people learn that when you tie into the energy with your business stuff, be that marketing, be that accounting, whatever you do, when you tie into it energetically, like me sending out my invoices wrapped in love so I don't get arguments.
Yes.
And I want to do that as a summit so people learn. And one of the topics was today colors and how colors energetically support you or shut you down. So if you're not resonating with your colors in your logo, you're never going to be authentic. You're never going to be, I'm not saying never ever going to be successful, but it's going to be harder because you're already creating a huge block, because people can recognize if you're aligned with your colors.
Yes, 100%. And that goes back to the fact that everybody is intuitive, whether you are consciously aware or not. And so when you come across a brand that like their logo says one thing, but their messaging says another, it's out of alignment. And so you don't trust it because you're like, is it this energy or that energy? And I feel as people, especially with AI coming in, we're getting so much more sophisticated on recognizing what's true and authentic.
Yeah.
And what's a corporation that's just getting me to buy something.
Yeah.
And we're
the same thing. I was watching videos today, break, just so you the doom scrolling. And there's so many commercials, and my background is marketing. So my business diploma was in marketing. And I look at those commercials and all I think is fake, 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 fake. I would never ever sign up on any of those.
Yeah.
And the more they scream at you, the less I believe them.
Yeah. And I actually I can tell the script where marketers have used that, identify the pain point, tell them how you solve it. Right.
Well, we do that too when we sell ourselves.
Right. But we do it in a more compassionate way instead of like the one that sort of like gets at me is like, if you're not making 120,000 in your small business, then you're failing.
In that like, voice.
Yeah. And then old me would have been like, oh my God, I'm failing. Me today is like, who are you to tell me what's success and not success for me?
That's the point. We get into our and that's part of that being overwhelmed. You wanna cater to every opinion that's out there and everybody or perceived opinion, because sometimes it's not even an opinion that somebody has towards you. Sometimes you just perceive it as that because you're so in your box that it has to be this.
Yes.
And I love it when clients come and say, well, they said that because of, they think that. And I think that, and that's an even better one. I think that they think. No, you cannot think for somebody else.
No.
And you don't know for somebody else.
No.
It's your opinion. It's your color. It's your perspective. It's your lens. And usually it's colored by your emotions. So if you're angry with that person, it will not have a nice color. Right. But if you're aware of that lens, if you know that it's coloring whatever you see, whatever you perceive, then you can step back and go like, ooh, why did I react to that person that way? And all of a sudden, things that would have escalated before or left you angry and left you overwhelmed or whatever become uninteresting. Like there's no energy to be put in because you realize that that's not mine. That's something else that I don't even have to care about.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Being so disconnected with our bodies these days, being not tied in, not being aware of our five senses and the cues that come in energetically, and being able to read that won't allow us to step out of ourselves and take a look at the bigger picture. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, sorry, I'm funny today. It's interesting because I got 2 tattoos on my arms. I have the can you see that? Dragonfly. And energy comes in on the left, energy goes out on the right. So the dragonfly, the rebirth coming in on the left. And then I have an eagle flying out on the right. How does the arm turn? It doesn't. So it's an eagle flying out on the right. So interesting part in that is the eagle is the oversight. And when I had the second one put on, the energy started flowing, but it was also my life cycle out of that burnout, the rebirth out of the burnout, and now being able to see the bigger picture. Do I always do that? No, definitely not, because I'm human and I fall back into patterns too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm able to realize when something's triggering me and take a step back and go like, ooh, why? Right?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Why is that triggering me?
I was just going to say the throat chakra.
Speaking
your authentic truth.
No, but it's really interesting to go back into that pattern of, okay, here, and all of us get caught in old patterns all of a sudden. And lately, I would say last year was really, really heavy. Like last year, the last 24 or last 12 months, or maybe even the last 18 months were so much going back into old patterns, coming out of them, coming out of them. And every time it becomes faster, but it's almost like for me, like a challenge to see how far I've come.
Yes.
And what's not dealt with yet, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I have also felt that the last like 2025 has been it feels like slow progress, but like you say, when you look back to like January 2025, wow, what a difference. Like how much has shifted since then. Not only like personally in my body and how I'm reacting and how I'm doing things, but also you can see it in the global, what's happening.
Worldwide, yeah.
That's reflected back, right? Yeah. And I was very much in my younger years like disassociated from my body. I would just push through things. I wouldn't listen, and it goes back to that culture of, you just take a Tylenol and go to work.
One.
You know,
I took at my worst, like when I was at my worst times, because I was clenching my teeth and I didn't know it, and being just like the first, no, two days before the period started, my magnesium levels would drop so much that I had migraines. And nobody tied in that it was the magnesium that was low. So starting Epsom salt foot bath in the morning when I went into the shower took care of that. But in my worst times, I was up to, I'd say, 40 Robax and 40 ibuprofen in 2 weeks just so I could go to work. 40.
Oh, yeah. And that's our culture, right? Is like, just take something and go do the thing because, being sick is a weakness, and, taking time for your health and wellness is selfish. And you're supposed to just hustle through it and get the dang thing done because making money is the most important thing, which was my core belief back then.
I find it interesting that it's legit to go out and smoke. And I'm not putting down, I was a smoker myself, so I'm not putting down smokers, but it's legit to go out and have a smoke multiple times during the day, but it's not okay to take a mental break for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I remember starting to smoke so I could get that break.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but isn't that what's wrong with our society to make something that's unhealthy normal and something that would be healthy and more productive shameful?
Yeah. And it's like you're wasting company time.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's very backwards.
Yeah.
And I know other cultures approach it differently. So it's very much like a Western thing that it's like hustle, 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 right? I was telling my partner the other day, I wish I lived in one of those European countries where you get 3 months off in the summer. It's just everybody takes it. So
well, coming from one of those countries, we had 25 to 28 days off paid vacation, but you wouldn't take them in one piece.
Right.
You would take them in between. But even just having a full week, or a long weekend, in between where you had the time to go and you didn't have to fret about, do I get paid? Can I get away? Is it fine? Like, yes, you had to agree with the others, so like work was covered. But for the most part, you could go and you could do, and some of us had 30 days even. And then you had paid overtime. That was nice too.
Yeah. Yeah. The amount of unpaid overtime I've done in my like 9-to-5 career, because the positioning is, well, you're a salaried worker. And so you get this set amount of money for 40 hours a week. And anything over and above that, you don't get extra because you're a salaried worker. That's just the belief system.
Is that even legal?
There is a number, but it's not like 41 hours. It's like if you can prove that you consistently worked 60 hours without extra pay for a company, and then there's this big legal process that you have to go through. And so nobody does it because it's set up to be so difficult and doesn't help the employee. It just never happens. In fact, I have a friend who's owed $10,000 from a former employee, and there's no way for her to get it because the labor standard boards have reached out and said, you need to owe her this. The person says, I don't have it. There's nothing we can do. So our system is kind of set up not to even help the employee.
When I was working for Siemens, in Germany, my last job before I left, I had a 35-hour week. We had to take, in the time that we were working, we had to take breaks. You were only allowed to work so and so many hours a piece, and then you had to take a break. And the other thing was that overtime was paid by the hour out of your wages. So if you had a wage of whatever, so and so many, then they would split that up and they would say, this is your overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, but on the other hand, it's go, be efficient. So I liked working here when I started working here because I worked on an hourly base.
Mm-hmm.
And that meant I was paid when I was working, but I was paid overtime when I was working.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a good thing, bad thing. Bad thing was that I didn't listen to my body and that I didn't stand up for myself enough because I didn't realize it.
Right. You're like, oh, I'm a little tired, but that makes sense because I'm working so much and my body aches. But again, I'm sitting in a chair longer hours than usual. So obviously my neck and upper back would hurt 24/7, right? Where it's like, no.
Well, it's the same thing. Like I just started to drive taxi here, and my boss wanted to give me full shifts because he thinks everybody wants full shifts. And I said from the beginning, I don't want that.
No, yeah.
I'd rather step in when somebody needs time off over lunchtime and I do 2 or 3 hours. That's fine by me. I don't need, because I don't have it as a full-time job. I do it to supplement my personal income and because I love to talk to people.
Yeah.
Right. And so that took like almost 3 weeks finagling around until he understood what I want and that I can accommodate him in what I'm doing because I can be flexible.
Yeah.
Interesting to see that.
I had something similar when I left my 9 to 5 doing graphic design to go out and do work on my own because I felt I could do less hours and make more money by going out on my own, which I actually did. I worked part-time and made more than my salaried full-time position. Yeah. And that's a whole nother story because the graphic design industry is undervalued and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But anyways, I did that. And then I was fearful when I first did it. And so I'm like, maybe I'll get a part-time job. And so I found a part-time graphics design position. And like you say, because they were like, oh, we really like how well you work and how fast you work. Could you come in all week?
Nope.
And after 3 months of doing full time, I'm like, wait a minute, this is what I didn't want. I'm back to where I was. So yeah, I left that position as well. Yeah. And then
I gotta say, yeah, I left mine, like I left work, being employed in 2016 and I never looked back. And hourly wage, I definitely make more. But during COVID, a lot of stuff that I've done, because my clients didn't come into, I have a lot of German clients that have companies here. They didn't come into Canada. So I didn't see them. So as I'm also paid on an hourly wage, then it's kind of iffy, or I bill an hourly wage. And so that declined, and I realized during COVID and during going through menopause was one of the parts too. I realized I don't want to do that all my life. I like helping them, and I like to not cater to them, care for them. Say it this way.
Yes.
Care for them. But it's not satisfying enough. And that's why I switched to doing the burnout mentoring. And that only came to fruition the last year, that I grew into that, and I realized that I have that knowledge. I have that living knowledge, the living experience that I can share with others.
Yeah.
But before that, I was not seeing it. It was like I had blinders on. I always did the work. At the same time, I had my business with the business work, but I never saw myself in the position of I could be a guide for somebody else, or I could mentor somebody else. And this week alone, there were so many things where people gave testimonials or commented on social media posts and whatever, that floored me, because I've never seen myself as that. For me, it's natural to cater not cater. Why is there cater in there? To care for others without catering to them, but just to be on their same level and trying to be for them, and create, as you said before, create the circumstances for them, for their innate healing to occur, right? Which I loved when we started our training as therapeutic touch teachers, because that's where that phrase was coined for us, that we're creating the circumstances for innate healing to occur. It's nothing else we do. We do our best and we step away. Everything else that happens is for you to be done and not for me. But I never had the confidence or the trust in myself to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm also very clear in that I'm not a therapist. I cannot take that role. I'm not trained as a therapist, and I don't do therapist work. I'm here as a person that you can ramble to, that you can rage to, whatever. I'm here to listen, and I hear you because I've been through it. And then I might give you some input or ask some questions, and that's it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many interesting things.
I know.
What helped you to get out of burnout?
First of all, awareness that I was in burnout. That was like, and I mean, it's kind of a cliche that, when you are aware, that's the first thing. But I didn't realize how much in burnout I had gotten, especially in the last phase of burnout. So my first phase of burnout was almost 20 years ago, when I was in my late 20s, the first full-time job after university. You have those student loans over your head. And so you're like, I gotta make the boss happy, right? And so that's when my people pleasing came out, of like, I'll help everybody, I'll take extra work, I'll come in extra hours to basically make everyone happy. And kind of like, I recognize now that it was kind of like needing to prove and get that approval from others, like that external validation. And if I wasn't getting it, then something was going wrong, or I wasn't working hard enough. And so I'd like do more. And that was like the perfect storm for burnout. And I actually started having panic attacks. And so I went to my doctor, and I did do talk therapy back then. And it became aware through the talk therapy that, it was that people pleasing, that overachiever, that I was putting everybody else before me and totally ignoring all of my body and self to like be that good, ideal, golden worker. And so I did learn from that and adjust, but then I changed careers. So then I went back to school as a mature student and got my graphic design diploma, which was wild because I was 36 and the youngest student in my class was 17. And it was like, oh my goodness. But we got along great. Everything was amazing. And then again, I went into the same energetic pattern that, okay, this is a new career for me going into the workplace. I had to prove myself, prove my worth, prove that I'm a good designer. And then I got a position where even though it said 40 hours, we were doing like 45 to 50 every week. And staying late was just expected on certain days. And when big projects or bigger projects came along, working weekends was just expected. And as soon as one project finished, there was no celebration, there was no break. It was okay, next. Okay, next. And the entire staff was burnt out. And so there was that like that frustration energy and that anger, and there was bickering among people and that sassiness and like toxic environment. And so I knew on week 2 that I would not stay there long because all of the red flags were coming up.
Yeah.
And then I lasted for 24 months. And I was just like, no, my body is done. I am getting physically ill from just doing what's expected of me and not saying no. And so I gave my notice and said, good luck, everybody. Have fun without me because I'm done.
You were faster than me. I took 10 years.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
took 10 years to realize that. One of the interesting things was that you just talked about all the things like trying the people pleasing and whatever. But what comes down to it is the fear of failing.
Yeah.
And that not failing yourself, but failing others, which is so much.
Yes. Yeah. It's not that I'm going to let myself down because I can let myself down all the time. But if I let down that entire team, or and if I miss a deadline
or whatever,
yeah, and they have to talk to me about, you did this wrong and blah, 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 then there's that self shame and self resentment that gets put on you that I think for me, it came from a very critical parental person in my childhood that was like I could never make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
I could loop the moon and bring it down for them, and it was like, well, I asked for it at 6:00 and you gave it to me at 6:05. There was always an issue with what I was bringing.
Yeah.
And so I feel I took that energy right into my work life and my management and leadership, because that's kind of like your parents are kind of like your first manager leadership guides kind of roles. And also to never disagree, because when I shared my honest opinion, it would sort of be, how could you feel that way? That makes no sense. Or, like the gaslighting, which I don't feel they meant it in a negative way, but that's just how they communicated and that's how they learned, right? Like our parents just repeat what they learned. And so there wasn't I didn't learn how to set boundaries, how to say no. how to disagree, how to disappoint people. Like I didn't start disappointing people until in my 30s. And it was really hard to say no to someone. And then when they were like, okay, thanks for letting me know. It's fine. I was like, wait, what? It's not a big thing. And you're not going to like tell me you hate me and like never want to talk to me again. I was like, oh my goodness. So that's when I started learning like, oh, I need to put myself first in the priority list. And then the job and work and money comes second or third, because then family, friends goes into number 2, those true people who support you, not just when you do a good job.
It's so funny that you say that, because I had a text yesterday that last night I was out with friends, and part of my colleagues, like one of my colleagues was there, so I took a little trip, the taxi with her, just to keep her company. And then comes a text in from another colleague and says, "Are you free tomorrow?" And I'm like, yeah, no, no, I'm not. It's my day off. And yes, I could have accommodated. Yes, I could have shifted stuff around, but no, today is my day, because I wouldn't be here with you today if that wouldn't have happened. And it's just like the first instinct was to say yes.
Yeah, because we want to please those people. We want, especially if it's someone who's close to you, who
Or
you really
new colleagues
value,
where you try to fit in.
or yeah,
all of that. But it was like, yeah, I thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, that happened last night. So
yeah,
and you get triggered with that often. That comes, and that's what I said before, it often comes back in some ways to challenge you again, and to see, do you think about what you're doing? Do you realize what you're doing? And all my being already went no when my fingers went yes. So my brain tried to take over and put it in relation, and my body said no, hell no, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, it's like I love being able these days to take that step back and look at what I'm doing, to reflect on and realize, first of all, how far I've come from where I was, but also realize I'm only human, and yes, I will make mistakes, and yes, I will fall back. It's okay. But these days it's faster that I get back on my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I find that too. That, you have that, oh well.
what I found also so interesting, what you said in our talk before, because we had a little recording before, because we're attending a same event, and you were talking about supplement burnout.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard that. But yes, I always talk about that burnout is everywhere, because anything that overwhelms you can lead to burnout, no matter what it is. It's not just work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's still only recognized as a workplace situation, not anything that's related to, like, officially labeling. WHO says it's a workplace related symptom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, every mom everywhere.
Yeah, well, they're in the workplace.
Right? I mean, yeah,
is their workplace.
Family is their workplace.
Yeah, but it's interesting that there should be, like, I don't know. It's everywhere. It's in everything, and it's related to everything. And you using that work for supplement burnout, I found that just so fascinating.
Yeah, and I've never been diagnosed as neurodivergent or ADHD, but I find the more I learn about it, the more I feel my brain is wired in some ways, maybe not fully, but in some ways with that. And putting perimenopause on top of that, I feel like the brain fog, the forgetfulness. And I was on all of these supplements on this regimen, and perfectionism comes into that as well, because I want to do a good job. I want to, do what's best for my body and follow this regimen. But if I had a busy week, I would forget certain ones or forget, like, did I take that today? Did I not take that today? And then I'm running out, so I have to order more, and it was just it was like overwhelming to have my day-to-day, my rest and relaxation, and then this like supplement thing that became in my mind bigger than it probably was, but in my mind it was like, you have to follow this and do it, and I got supplement burnout.
The thing in that is you don't have to.
I know.
Because you're again trying to please your naturopath or other health.
Yes, I'm trying to be the good patient and follow all the things so my body's happy.
Yeah. And for me, like, I take supplements when they come up, like when they're constantly coming up in my mind, then I know that's something missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I keep forgetting them, I know it's done.
Right.
Not that I recommend that to anybody. That's my personal thing. That's
yes.
But
what's the legalese? This isn't advice. It's just conversation.
No, we're not medical professionals, so we're not medical. Interesting was all you described as all you described after you use the labels neurodivergent and ADHD can be labeled as burnout.
Mm.
Can also be labeled as part of PTSD.
Yeah.
So it's not about the label. It's like the label is a cop out for a grouping of symptoms, but all of us challenged ones, let's say it this way, we're challenged in one way, have similar symptoms.
Yes.
And basically it's the body going into shutdown because it says, I cannot deal with you anymore. And the brain going like, I keep you in this box because then you're safe. Yes. And anything that's outside, I cannot deal with. That's where it was so interesting for me, because the way out of that for me was I learned muscle monitoring or my muscle biofeedback.
Mm-hmm.
My body always remembered if I'd done things, my brain never did.
Mm-hmm.
So worst times, I ran out of the house and back in 5 times to check if I turned the stove off. And the 5th time was driving back 25 kilometers.
Mm.
Nowadays, I go like, and I use my ring finger to test because I have scar tissue on my pointer, so I cannot. So I go, did I do? Didn't I do? And I ask again for release. So show me with release if I turned off the stove. Yes. And then I can go on, and I learned to trust my body. Yeah. Which was another concept that was not there. I didn't trust my gut feeling. I didn't trust my intuition. I relied on my brain that was in that box and trying to keep me in that box because that box was safe. No, it was not, because it kept me in survival mode and not in thriving.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's similar for me, where once I learned the awareness, then I learned, okay, what needs to happen to get me out of this? And immediately it was like, quit the job, because it's not going to get better. So you should just leave.
Did you ever realize we have so many sayings that relate back to awareness through the 5 senses? It churns my gut. That sounds wrong. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Something smells fishy.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It's all related to our 5 senses and the awareness through the 5 senses. And we are negating that.
Yeah.
Right? But it becomes so easy when you learn to trust your gut brain or heart brain, however you want to call it. It becomes so much easier because you're responding instead of reacting.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And you when you really trust it, you can feel the kind of pull to what's right,
the push,
or the push. Yeah. Or the heck no.
Yeah, no, it's like I love that. I love the part of the energy work that brings the awareness. That
Yes.
when you go like, I offer you the color red, and you go like, how do I do that? I say, well, become the flashlight and beam a red beam, and then you beam that red beam, and I go like, oh, I see a red apple, or I taste a red apple. Learning that the energetic cues and the energetic information that comes into our system can be translated in different ways, and then connecting them to each other is such a fun part of learning to listen to your intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It truly is. And the more I learned about it, the more I realized in past situations I was feeling that it's wrong, but then just clenching my teeth and going through it. And, everybody else feels the same. So I guess it's just like somehow my feeling is off, or I'm misperceiving the situation, where when I learn to trust my intuition, it's like, no, you were bang on, girl. And you should have just listened and trusted, and took action for whatever was right in that moment, rather than, take on other people's stuff or do work for someone else that really you didn't want to, but you're like, I'm a good person and I need to do this, right?
Can we tie back into your energy healing?
Mm-hmm.
I know I have quite a few people in my life who use light language, and I don't receive light language. Mine is pictures. I get, and then so a lot of pictures or sensation in my hands. So when I do my healing, I'm working. Yeah, and it's not wrong. I know.
Yeah, I know.
I had a teacher send me in one of our lessons. She sent me Mary Had a Little Lamb, the song, because we were playing like, how do you receive sound when somebody sends sound? And I saw like a Victorian era street with the street lights in the dark, and somebody walking with the stick, like a lady walking with the stick. It was so funny.
Wow.
When you go back to then comparing, right? But light language is not understood by everybody, and I would love for people to understand what happens there.
So how I describe it, and this is both from me taking in other people who also channel light language describing it, and what my guides have let me know about light language, is that it's very similar to sound healing in that it's a frequency. It's an energy, it's communicating emotion. But you brought up something very interesting about light language, that it's also communicating images in sound. And so it's not a coincidence that you see things when you hear light language, but you might not feel it in your body. And that's just how you take in and process the light language. Also, because of its multidimensionality, one group of people receiving the same light language will each have a totally unique experience, because again, it's what's meant for them at that moment. And I've channeled it for different individuals, and some individuals it's very like a really earthy bass tones of like, and then others it's a very melodic sing-song type of sound. And there's some individuals that have like clicks and other types of sound that comes through with light language. Even toning is viewed as a certain type of light language, because again, it's just bringing through those different frequencies. And similar to the singing bowls that you use, it's bringing the energy of the individual into that alignment or frequency that they feel most centered, and allows anything else to just be brushed away.
It's neat to talk that through, for because I've received multiple sessions with light language, and I'm a person who can just sit there and can receive without having to judge or having to know, because I trust in the process. But the way you just described is basically I use pictures through my hands, so the frequency of the picture through my hands while you use your tongue.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
and for me, the word language in there, so that's where my struggles are. I don't
know,
like
it's
labels.
not,
So
yeah.
if you take that language
It
out,
should be the frequency of light.
if you would go light voice, that
Yeah.
would be different. But as soon as you put language there, my brain goes like, that's not words.
Yeah. And again, how I've been shown is that a small bit of light language and written, like light language can also be written with symbols and shapes and whatnot. And I've also been shown that if you shift the direction of them, it's a whole different story. It's a whole different book, because of the multidimensionality. And then if you think of it in like 3D space instead of just 2-dimension, then you can also think of like which ones are on which level. And then, yeah, it gets pretty mind-blowing what it's communicating in just tones
And that's like
voice.
When I started therapeutic touch, when we started working with the images or whatever you had, it was like my vision of it was like more flat, like 1D, maybe 2D, if at all. But then I started putting people's in spheres, and I work like, if I hold space, I usually put you in a sphere and I fill the sphere with whatever is surrounding you. So it becomes a holographic thing.
Yeah.
Right. And the understanding of it, when I just done it, I just did that intuitively. I never put a label to it, but I see it actually as a 3D. I don't just, sometimes it's just 2D. It depends on what it is. But the interesting part in that is how people perceive it when they receive the offering, when they accept the offering, how they give you the feedback, what they've seen and what they felt.
Yeah.
And that's like, that was for me, was one of the neatest things. The first course we took, level 1 therapeutic touch, which was 2009. Our teacher said, send the color yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And my partner sent me the hug from a mom, intuitively. And I felt cradled. And for me, the color yellow is the sun. So I sent her the sun and her head goes up like this.
Yes.
So the cues that you get is just so amazing. And all it is, you're resonating at the same frequency. It might not translate the same with the same words, because words are limiting.
Yes. Yeah.
But it translates into a similar experience.
Yes. Yeah. And I've had that experience when I guide a group of people through a meditation where like a transmission of light language will come through, and then I'll say something in English and it might come through as, and now you may see golden light coming down from above. And at the end of the meditation, one of the participants will say, like, 10 seconds before you said that, I was already seeing it. And so I feel there's also this thing that people don't talk about of collective consciousness. When we're aligned at the same frequency, we're in the same, like almost the same brain, like we're all tapped into it. And so we can all see the same thing, experience the same emotion. I've also had the experience of seeing the group of who's in a meditation together in another like energetic realm, and then afterwards asking, were you seeing this? And they're like, yes, how did you know? And it's just like, well, I saw you and I saw you there.
I think we're just starting to dabble in all of that because
Yeah.
some people are further ahead, some people are not, and there's no shame in, and there's no like I have friends who are a little bit more radical.
Hmm.
They are healers. I would say they're warriors more because they want to push everybody into the light or further ahead
Yeah.
into the
You
knowing,
don't, yeah,
however
you
you
don't
want to
get to
call it.
choose that.
And I'm like, yeah, but you got to give them time to get there.
Yes. And they have to want it.
Yeah.
You can't, one of the most important lessons I learned was you can't fix someone who doesn't want fix. You can't help someone who doesn't want help. You can't send someone distance Reiki if they didn't accept and consent to get it, because it'll just come back to you, right?
I usually use willing, able, and ready.
Yes.
Either
Yeah.
of those, because we're multidimensional. If one of those is not given, there is no healing, there is no moving
Right.
forward, because one of them will always pull you back.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
might be momentarily lessened, but you will go back into the old pattern because one of them is missing. Right?
Yeah. And I feel that's also the I have people that I know also in the spiritual community who are very, let's go, let's get to 5D, let's get to 10D, let's get to 12D. And it's like everybody's on their own
Journey
at their own pace. And if our paths cross, I'll see you there, right?
I love when people come, I want you to. No. No. You want yourself to, but you don't want me to.
Yeah. Or if someone, I've also had people, I'm sure you've heard this too, where people just ask, like, please fix me.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, no, that's not how it works. I mean, I wish it was that easy, but that's not how it works.
That's why I say I work with you, not for you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I like
But you've
to
got to do the
describe it
work.
as,
I guide you. I lend you the hand and
yeah,
I'll guide you through.
exactly.
But I don't do the work for you because that's not my place to do.
No.
It's a lesson to learn. It's yours.
Yeah. And that's what I did through my childhood as an empath, was I took everybody's gunk and transmuted it for everybody, right?
Yeah, no.
Now I'm like, that's not mine to carry. You do that work, I'll do my work.
That's another interesting part because, again, burnout, a lot of us are empathic, especially when we get in, or empaths tend to go into overwhelmed burnout because they don't know how to discern if it's theirs or somebody else's.
Yes, that's the most challenging thing because everything feels like yours.
How do you discern if it's yours or not?
Sometimes I'll ask my guides, is this mine? Is this someone else's? Other times I'll go through, like, if, for example, if I'm feeling anxious all of a sudden, I'll go through, the previous few hours of my day. Is there a reason why I'm feeling anxious? Is there anything that I'm worried about or that's coming up that might be bringing this emotion? And then if the answer is no, then I'll be like, okay, who does this belong to? And then usually I'll and like I say this to everyone, even in readings and working with people, like, trust how information comes to you because there's no right or wrong way. And often I'll just have that gut feeling of it's from this person. Sometimes I might see their face. Sometimes it might just be like a crowd of people, like, oh, right, I went to the grocery store earlier and I did feel a little off there. So maybe someone was anxious and now I'm feeling it again. And so then as soon as you're aware that it's not yours, I feel it's already starting to let go. And if I don't feel it let go on its own, then I'll just do a conscious clearing, energy clearing, pick up a singing bowl, my Koshi chime.
Your Koshi chime.
That I got from Natasha.
Koshi chime is our internal joke.
Yeah. Or hold a crystal for a while, take a few breaths, do a 5-minute meditation, whatever I feel guided to. If it's a bigger thing, I might even go for a walk. Because I find that movement and getting into a different environment helps recenter you and let go of whatever's not yours.
It's interesting. How often did I say interesting?
Many, many times. It's my favorite word too.
But it's really interesting because when I talk to you, there's so many things that I realize in me. So for me, I am an empath, but not going down the rabbit hole. I can tie into what others feel. But I have this, if it's mine, it's deep core. And if it's somebody else's, it's like on the skin.
Yeah.
So it's sensation wise, it's different for me. And these days I can be I can have empathy with somebody, but I can step away from it and I can just let them be, because I learned that it's not mine to carry.
No. And you can be compassionate without taking it on. And that was a huge lesson for me as an empath. Was that your dog snorting?
Not snoring. He stretched and the claws went on.
Oh.
So he's comfortable in what he does. That's another interesting factor. Like, he's only with me since October. If I'm in a call, and he's often with me in the calls, and if there's somebody, or if I'm not comfortable, he would be more closer to me. If somebody else is not comfortable, he starts pacing behind me. Right now, both of us are in a level that we're so comfortable that he actually moved away and is laying on the other side of the room. So my cats, pets, whatever, dogs, cats are huge indicators for me these days.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And huge triggers too. That's the other part.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Those days when you really have to get something done and focus, and they're just like coming at you. And you're like, I just need an hour, please.
I go to Tim Hortons and work there. I take my
nice.
go to Tim Hortons and run away.
Yeah. Luckily, I have a door, so I can, gently let them go and close the door.
Doesn't work in my house, because then there's barking, and then there's a cat who tries to open doors the other way around, so he goes like bang, 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 bang instead of push.
Yeah.
So they always find a way to get you when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
If somebody were to come and say, I need help with burnout, your go-to would be tying into your intuition and then working from there, asking questions, just so that people get. Not a lot of people know what energy healers do and how we do. I'm still seeing myself more on the physical plane than anything else working. And I explain a lot of things that I do from a physical plane, because I was so much for such a long time, almost like two personalities. As a child, I was the healer that went and go happy-go-lucky and the world is huge and whatever. And then somewhere along the line came business, and business said, no, it's like this. Yeah. So I had, and when I took my first sound healing training, my colleagues said, we cannot believe that you're doing the work you do. You're such a brain person. But I was always able to experience and work from the experience, even though my brain was not there. So if you were to explain somebody process-wise, they call you, they get in contact, how do they work with you?
I do everything online. And so they can reach out to my website, joystarhealer.com, and I offer readings. And usually it's like, if you want to get some insight or guidance, a reading is a great place to start. If you don't have experience with energy work at all, it's a great place to sort of like try it, dip your toe in, but you're not doing any huge transformations or energy work. that would affect your physical
Mhm.
body. And then usually from there, if you want to go deeper, then we would book a one-on-one meet on Zoom like this. And it's just as powerful as in person.
Mhm.
And one session I had, I was just like moving my hands as light language was coming through, and the individual opened her eyes because she could feel like wind on her face. And I was like, what? Okay. Okay. So I even get surprised sometimes, as I'm sure you do too, when you're like, wow, that's amazing.
No,
Yeah.
I'm always just, it's not so much surprise in a negative sense. It's a surprise in a very positive sense.
Like,
I
wow,
had the last time
amazing.
I had that experience when Evelyn Mulders, the creator of the Sound Essence sprays that I use, she did a balance with us and she sprayed the spray, and I could feel and smell the change in the room here.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're tied into energy and when you learn what the cues are that come in, it opens a new world because you have so much more information coming to you.
Yeah. You don't have to do it all at once.
No.
Like everybody, like there's this thing in spiritual about the Kundalini awakening that all just happens in, 15 seconds. And it's like that's very rare that people have that sort of awakening that's all at once. How I started is, am I an empath? When I was in my mid 30s, am I an empath? It's a hell yes, but
just be curious. That's how I
yeah,
start. Be curious and explore. Become Dora the Explorer and go on the world
exactly.
and
Exactly.
experience as much as you can, and then take from those experiences whatever works with you and resonates with you. Because yes,
Yeah.
I've had all kinds of sessions, and some worked and some didn't, and sometimes it's the healer that you're not working with or not resonating with. But as you said before, we have an underlying current that we resonate with, and people of the same current create coherence.
Yes.
And come together. And
yes.
If you are resonating and coherent at the same time, things move faster because you almost need no words. There's understanding, there's compassion, and there is no force behind it.
Yeah. And you don't even need to understand what's happening. You can just experience it.
It just feels right.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? Get back into yourself and everything fits. Basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the small things people can do to sort of like tap into a little bit of it is just trust your gut. Is this a yes or no?
Best advice ever.
You will know.
Trust your gut and watch your breath.
Yes. Yes. Don't hold your breath when you're getting needles.
No, not only that, even if you're going into a room into a situation, pay attention to your breath. If your breath is really restricted, is it because you're fearing? And if you're not fearing, is it because there's something that's not serving?
Yeah.
So,
and another one is, are you trying to fit into a box that you don't belong in anymore?
Or are you in a box that's not fitting?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we could go on for hours.
I know. We could do 6 more hours.
We hit the hour mark. 1 hour and 9 minutes.
Amazing. That flew by.
It's not the recording, but the meeting is 1 hour and 9 minutes. So I'd say we are at the hour mark for the recording. Tara, it was a pleasure, and I'm really happy to see you soon in person.
I know. So excited.
And I'm excited to start playing.
Yes. Yes.
I will post all of your information, that if people want to reach out, they have your social media and whatever information you give me in the description. And otherwise, I hope to see you soon.
Yes, you will.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Spinning fast, ideas flow but never last. Waves of wonder, thoughts untamed. Nothing ever stays the same. Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind. Ideas fade, all the shine. Oh, welcome to my busy mind.